Okay, it's Rutgers versus the Spartans this Saturday, 3:30 at SHI Stadium. No, it's not the Michigan State Spartans. Let's get to it.
35-14 is our score. Vick keeping it. Dancing inside the 10. Still on his feet. He's going in.
Okay, so it's Norfolk State Michael Vick season as the Norfolk State Spartans come in to Rutgers and SHI Stadium this Saturday at 3:30, and you kind of wonder, do you really need a preview of Norfolk State and Rutgers? That's fair enough. You can only do so much breakdown of Norfolk. But yeah, let's do it. Let's get to it. So we have Norfolk State this week. Many wonder in a new world of TV contracts, the big money floating around, player movement, expanding conferences, yada yada yada. Are these games even worth playing? And the guys from Rutgers Ramp, NewJersey.com, were talking about this. Some for it, some are against it, and if it was a choice between, say, Norfolk and Virginia Tech or Boston College, I'd probably err on that side. This is essentially a $400,000 payout for Norfolk, which is why they take it. And the series has not been close. We're 4-0. We've, we've won 2007, 59-0, in 2010, 31-0, 2013, 38-0, and 2015, 63-13, in a season which we eventually became 4-8. So it doesn't matter. I talked about this a few videos ago, where you can build up some offensive momentum against an FCS team, but will that carry over once you start to play the big boys? So that remains to be seen, that if a tune-up game is of any help. Now, I think it does help you get players in there that you want to get a look at, you want to develop some rhythm, understand, and be able to execute. But I think if you play a team that's a decent Power 4 team and you do well, I think you can get more out of that than beating up on Norfolk, 63-13. Although sometimes you just need those breathers. If you look at the SEC, they always get those games in November where they play the Sisters of Mercy. We typically do that on the front end, whether it's Howard or Norfolk or Wagner. Nonetheless, we're here. I think it also helps, your rankings, your strength of schedule. If you can beat, although Boston College is probably better this year. Even Temple, although Temple gave us a hard time a couple years ago. That was a tough one. Nonetheless, Norfolk, they are number 15 in the HBCU rankings after week number 2, number 97 FCS team. They're ranked 104th in offense, 103rd defense. Yes, I did actually watch a little bit of film on them. They play some special teams. They play some good special teams in the kick return game. They had a block punt for a touchdown, but they're an erratic, inconsistent team, which is kind of why they're 1-1, and that they missed a couple field goals. They're also inconsistent in their approach to the running game. When they lost to Towson, they rushed for 36 yards on 31 attempts, which is not particularly good. But then they ran the ball 37 times for 237 yards against Virginia State in a game that went into overtime. That was Michael Vick's first win. So we don't really know what they have, especially that they have rotating quarterbacks with two different styles. One a pocket passer, one a more athletic, mobile quarterback that kind of gives us trouble. They nonetheless they still have moved the ball kind of effectively. They average 382 yards per game, and that's just shy of the 400 that we're giving up. So uh, we don't want to give them any hope, and we want to. Well, we'll get to what the defense has to do in a minute. Uh, Nonetheless, Norfolk has struggled to get the ball in the end zone despite running up some yards, and we've had some challenges in the red zone. And so one of the things maybe you want to do is, first of all, prevent Norfolk from getting 387 yards against us. But if they do get in the red zone, you want to be able to tighten up that red zone defense. On defense, in 2 games, allowed 7 touchdowns. They've given up 382 yards a game against FCS competition. So we should be able to continue our offensive momentum. And they do have some guys that can make some plays. Cameron Thomas leads the team in receptions. 2 straight games, 5 receptions, 80 yards. We talked about this. Don't let the number one quarterback, running back, or wide receiver do a lot of the damage. Moved up the ball up and down the field on you. So we should be able to manage Thomas fairly well. But it will be interesting to see if Michael Vick, and if they're watching any film, do they start the more athletic quarterback in Israel Carter? Or if they go with Otto Kuhns, who's the more traditional drop-back quarterback. If I was Norfolk, I would go with the more athletic quarterback, not because it just gives us problems, but we seem to do okay with traditional on those plays. Traditional pass and run sets on schedule. We seem to be okay. It's not a state secret. Off schedule plays give us a problem. So it'll be interesting to see how Michael Vick handles that. Will he rotate depending on game situations? The other thing you're going to have to watch out for is Norfolk has been okay at generating defensive front pressure. And they've been decent against the run, so we can't allow pressure. We had 3 sacks last week against Miami. And Nathan was running a little bit. He, do the design runs, but he, had to scramble several times. And, no playing around. We need to dominate the run game. So don't let Norfolk get any false hope keeping it close early on. So, there's not much to dissect here. We have the advantage talent-wise. Watching a game, it just seemed, especially that Virginia State Norfolk, it just looks like it's played at a slower pace. So we should have the physical and athletic advantage there. But as long as we can do whatever it is we do, don't make mistakes, we're pretty good at not committing penalties, not committing turnovers so far, knock wood. I don't think there's much that Norfolk can do to keep it close and put a scare in us. But first couple series aside, you never know how the games start out and warm up to the final conclusion. But Norfolk does have a 2-quarterback system, so we'll see how Vick handles that. Otto Kuhns, 32 of 47, 395 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's not bad, even in FCS. Israel Carter, 13 of 21, only 96 yards, but doesn't matter. He's a mobile quarterback. And even guys that aren't great passes of the football or have pocket presence give us a problem just because of their escapability skills. And we can't spend a day just missing against Norfolk State. That being said, I think, maybe they'll make a play here, a play there. Maybe they'll get 7 points, 10 points on the board. We should be able to handle that. So, what do we do going into this game? What's the philosophy? A lot of people would like to see AJ Sarace, and who knows? If we're up 35-0 in half, maybe you see AJ come out for the second half. I think Coach will, by mid-third quarter, start to make substitutions. But I feel we need to continue our offensive momentum, and I know they don't want to show a lot for Iowa, but, maybe you start extending that short Tom Thibodeau rotation. More reps to Jay Sean. I don't know if Sam's available. If he can play, that would be kind of nice. This might be the kind of game, if he's healthy, to get him some reps. Some of the younger guys. Vernon Allen III, Jordan Houston, Michael Thomas III, Ben Black, maybe get him more involved in the passing game. We have issues now on the offensive line, and Coach was talking about, and I'm kind of surprised that the guy that people are looking at, that he could be the guy in the future, and that's Moshe Jiwa from LIU. Man, when a guy from LIU is a guy that you're looking at the penciling in and he can do a good job, you're probably going to see a fair amount of reps for him as well as Justin Cesari from New Haven. It'll be interesting to see how the rotations go in several different position groups, to be honest with you. When Moshe Jiwa is a significant upside, I'd be interested in seeing that. Dante Chin, Coach in his last post game, or was it Norfolk preview? Might have been the Norfolk preview. You could always tell Coach's body language. He was very subdued talking about Dante Chin. So that led me to believe that despite no commitment to what actually the issue is with his injury, my guess is he's done for the season. And Coach's body language gives it away. And those of us whose last name ends in a vowel typically give away our body language through either what it is we say or don't say, or how it is that we're communicating. And Coach was kind of surprisingly subdued after, a couple weeks there where Coach was very upbeat and positive. And, he always is, tries to look at the glass half full. Nonetheless, Dante Chin probably out for the season. Let's see how that offensive line rotation goes and how well they play. Iowa, whether they're, the same Iowa team or not, and they're struggling in offense, they're going to be a problem defensively. So we're going to need some guys to step it up. So what does that mean for a result? We win. We're halfway to a bowl game. And a lot of people kind of look at that with this tougher schedule this year as something to achieve for the third year in a row. But, and I've said this before, I think, there are opportunities there. But there's going to be some landmines and some unexpected landmines. Maryland with freshman quarterback, four-star quarterback Malik Washington, versatile athletic quarterback, going to be a problem. Purdue, 2-0. I think they're up against, is it USC this week? Let's see how they do against USC. This might not be that game that you pencil in as an easy win. Minnesota, Washington, people talking about Oregon and air explosiveness. Washington going to be a problem. Jonah Coleman, running back, is getting some Heisman love right now. So, yes, the top end of the schedule is tougher, but some of our peers, our competition, might be more of a problem than we think. So, getting to 3-0 will be important, but in the end, I don't think you can take much. Say we beat Norfolk 63-13. Not sure that there's much you can take out of that to bring into the Iowa game. Yes, Mark Runowski struggling at quarterback. It's really bad. $1 million quarterback, and it's Iowa fans not happy. But they're still going to play ugly football. They're going to drag you down and make you play their kind of game, and it remains to be seen. Although Miami's defense was a pretty good MAC team defense, Iowa is a different species altogether. And it'd be interesting to see, unlike in the past where we just couldn't execute any passing game or running game for that matter, will we be able to pass the ball not as efficiently, but pretty efficiently to be able to finally get over that Iowa hump where they won't be able to compete offensively with us? We'll get into an Iowa preview soon enough. I'm hoping Gronowski just doesn't get better against us. I have a feeling he might do a little better. Nonetheless, Norfolk, I guess the line comes out for the FCS teams today, the game maybe. Should be a 40-point win. I don't necessarily want to see this team, 35-17. Norfolk makes it kind of closer than you think, and we still struggle on defense. And Ethan is getting some pressure, and we're not, in the perfect world, I'd like to see 250 to 275 yards passing, 200 yards rushing. Vick, close to 500 yards, get a 40-point plus win. Don't make mistakes. Get some guys in there. Kamar Archie, DJ McClary. It's a new world with player movement. NIL, portal. Guys are going to be itching to play sooner to enhance their financial opportunities and profile. Plus, you just need to be able to get guys in there sooner, considering the realities of modern college football and player movement. And plus, we have some needs on defense. Pressure hasn't been there. The secondary, especially the safeties, have not been great. We have depth issues at linebacker. Let's get some good, solid looks in the second half and see what we got going, regardless if it's Norfolk or the second team is in there. Guys get on the field and they get acclimated to playing football without having to wait a year or two. That's it, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your week, and hopefully a resounding win against Norfolk and the return of Michael Vick to Piscataway. Have a great week, everybody. I will see you later.